Hello there, how are you? I hope everyone's doing well. I had a great day. I hope y'all did too. It was kind of a late start for me, but woke up thinking about something that I wanted to create, and lo and behold, by 6 o'clock this afternoon, it was there. And I love that. I love living with this new state of being, coming into this realization that I am co creating. It has made all of the difference. I have not worried about anything. I haven't let anything that anybody else has tried to do or has done affect the way that I feel about myself or about my life. It's such freedom, and I want that for all of you guys. That is why I am doing this. I am going to give a gentle reminder that I do not have my comments open for the very fact that I know that I'm still surrounded by a lot of beings that do not care for me very much, and that is okay. I wish to help you too. I love you all just the same because you are part of me, and I am part of you. Whether you realize it or want it or embrace it yet, hopefully you will. If you perceive anything, me or any person, me, my channel, anybody else's channel, anybody else, food, a pet, anything, someone else's car, their choice of an automobile or their mode of transportation, whatever it is, please keep your opinions to yourself, because if you want a platform, by all means, start a platform. You have the freedom to express yourself. Just know that if you express hate in any way, and I realize this about myself as well, so I'm not trying to act like I'm not a hypocrite here. I understand. I'm sharing it with you because I now understand it about myself, and then I observe it in others, and I want the best for all of us. But if you perceive anything to be crap in your opinion, simply step around. Let's have the emotional maturity to step around it. We don't have to scream, "Hey everybody, look, this is crap. Look at this pile of crap over here." Or, "Oh my gosh, it stinks so bad," and draw all this attention to it. If it irritates you, it's probably mirroring something that you don't like about yourself, but you haven't identified that as a trait that is personal to you. How many times have you met someone and you immediately didn't like that person, but you didn't know why? The reason that you don't know why is because it mirrors something back to you that you don't like in yourself. Most times when that's happened to me in the past, I would become very good friends with that person. A few weeks or a couple of months later, it would be like, why did I not like that person? I didn't give that person a chance. I actually love that person. And then we end up laughing about it later on and saying, I really didn't like you for a long time. You're like, yeah, me too. And it's because you're so much alike. You're just looking at things instantly jumps out to you about that person or that thing that you have within yourself. And you probably don't like that within yourself, but you don't want to admit it to yourself. You don't want to see it until it's in your face and you can't look away because it's somebody else that you have to work with or that you run across that keeps showing up on your feed. Stop syncing up with it. Change that about yourself. If you don't like it, don't put it on the other person. It is not their fault. Everything is of your own doing. If it's crossing your path, it's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. If it caused you pain or suffering, you put that in your path to learn from. Take responsibility from it. There are no victims here. And if something triggers you, then that shows you where you need to work. If you run across content, I have worked so hard to sync up since putting those messages out to you guys. I am working on that myself. I have come a long way, but I'm still trying to work things that it caught my eye and I watched for just a couple of seconds too long, and it's still every now and then showing up in my feed, and I'm like, God, I don't want to see that anymore. You see the sigh? Because it wears me out. It's something that's like lower vibrational that I don't want to sync up with. And every time that I see it, it drains me. Every time that it's in my vision, I'm like, breathe deep, let it out, release that. Don't stay there any longer than you have to. It's something that you have already worked through. You don't wish to go back there or stay there. Quickly as possible, in and out, so you don't feed it. It doesn't get any more of your energy or attention. Send it on its way with love and light, because even though you've been there and you're out of it, those people still have to learn those lessons. They are still there for a reason. They'll be there for as long as they want to be there or have to be there, until God throws down a card and says, all right, it's shit or get off the pot time. This is either going to hurt you and it's going to be monumental, or I have come in and given my divine intervention and I said, look, full stop. It's time to go. And then you have to. So I'm just putting that out there because I've seen a few things lately that I'm not addressing specifically. I would never, because as I'm telling you, if I don't want to sync up with it, I'm going to move around. It's not that hard to just move around, but some people can't. And I've said over and over about myself that if you address it, it is your address. So if you spend too long there talking about it, giving it attention, it's going to continue. No matter how loud you are, vocal you are, or how much you talk about it and explain it and break it down, if you spend too long there, it's gonna keep happening in your life. So I don't want you guys to keep doing what I did. I'm only touching on it because I keep seeing it and I'm like, oh, it breaks my heart to see you guys break your own heart, because we're all the same. I feel your pain. You might not have felt mine because you wanted me to be in pain, or you weren't paying attention, or life is life and whatever. But I still feel everybody else's pain. And I know that if you're spending too long explaining and teaching, just like I have in the past, that you're going to stay there. And I want to keep giving motivational messages so that we all know how to be mature and we all know how to move on and not stay stuck. I want that for everybody. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So I'm telling you how I'm doing it so that you guys can do it too. Today I wanted to talk about universal laws because I've touched on a couple as I talk about them, but I don't conform to our society. The titles that people work for here and the universities that they go to and throw tons of money at, or kill themselves to make their parents proud, or do what they think they have to do to conform. I am non-conformist. Yes, I did go to college. Yes, I do want to still finish my degree, but I would do it for myself. I would also do it to further my education, just to be more educated on any subject. Like, I want to learn, but I feel like I've learned more by going within than I could from any textbook. All the experiences that I've had in life via the places and people that I've met have educated me more than any of the books that I read in college, any of those very, very expensive books that I read in college. So it's just because of our society, you can't get certain jobs unless you have that piece of paper. So if you want to advance in the physical, then that's what you do. But it doesn't impress me. It's for you. Do it for you. Don't do it to impress others. I think that the longer we stay rooted and giving ourselves titles and labels, that the more it holds us back from advancing with anything as far as what we want to create in our own life. Because even if you have devoted half your life to becoming a doctor, it can all be taken away in 2 seconds. If you have spent so much time and so much money in becoming a lawyer, just one malpractice suit, just one lawsuit, one wrong turn, or one angry person that has a lot of money that they can throw at their vengeance and their grudges can take it all away in 2 seconds. You know, how many lawyers have been disbarred, and how many physicians have their license revoked, and any kind of title that you give yourself in the physical just gives someone your power. It gives them access to taking something away from you and from hurting you. And that's what I don't want for anyone. The more that you root yourself in attachments and let labels become your identity, and you place so much importance on that when it really doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, this is just a game. This is just a game that a lot of beings take too seriously. And if you only knew what you could create that didn't involve any of that stuff, but would be so much more rewarding and long-standing, that's created just between you and God that no one can take away, I think it's an easy choice. 11:11 on the clock. But knowing those laws, the universal laws, if you ever do decide to take the leap and stop taking physical life so seriously, it's good to know. People will argue it because it's pseudoscience or this or that. But when you've put these things into action, you will see that they are very much real and they trump everything else. And that people can laugh all they want, but you've got motion. And they're still stuck in low vibrations. So if you want to understand the way that it really works to advance, and then you don't have to work that hard at it at all. You just have to change your perspective and your mindset and stop adhering to the labels and the attachments. It's really not any harder than changing your diet. The hardest part is the shadow work and breaking open from all of the programming and conditioning. That is the hardest part. But once you've done that, the rest is just like changing a diet and sticking to it. So the universal laws are fundamental principles believed to govern the universe. By definition, number 1, law of divine oneness. The law suggests that everything and everyone is interconnected at a fundamental level, and we are. We are all from the same power source. I call it the divine, I call it God, I call it the Most High. Some people say Most High and mean something totally different because that's what they place their trust and faith in. But to me, it's God, the one and only. And you can call it whatever you want, but He is in all of us. Therefore, we are all connected too. Same goes for anything that's energy, and everything is energy. The car, the table, the plants, the birds, the bees, the cats, the dogs, whatever. We are all connected. And the more that you meditate, and then you can go into that meditative state while you're in nature, you can feel it. You can feel the buzz of all the things around you, and you can feel how connected you are, and things will look a lot different too. Not dull, but very much vibrant, more vibrant than you've ever noticed them being before, when you can feel how connected that we are, and that in hurting other people or hurting other things, you're also hurting yourself. So you're not doing anything but holding yourself back. If you're putting all of your power and energy and trying to hold someone else back, put all of your power and energy into being uplifting, wanting the best for yourself and others, and for us all to come to a level of enlightenment to where we stop the cruelty, we stop the hate, we stop hurting ourselves. And that is because we are all connected. The law of vibration. Everything in existence is in constant motion, vibrating at its unique frequency. And that also applies to physical matter, thoughts, emotions, and energy. Everything is energy. Energy vibrates, and then it emits a frequency. If you want to go online, there's several channels on YouTube that are dedicated to different frequencies. I think it's very good to experience that, because a lot of words in songs can change the whole point of listening to music, because it's designed to make you think about things and keep you rooted in things that are not healthy for you, that don't promote leveling up, even though it might be a good, dance tune. The subject matter involved in the lyrics is not, it's counteracting the music with the words. It's bringing everything down. So even if the vibration of the music got you to vibrate higher by listening to certain lyrics, it's a wash. So try to look up different vibrations or different frequencies and check those out. A lot of them will be correlated to love. Some people do it for manifestation, some people do it for money, but it's I think when I'm being creative, that I'm more creative when I don't have lyrics in the music, and I often listen to different frequencies. So I would advise checking that out just to see if it's something that you could. It's no different than like listening to a symphony or any kind of orchestra or any other kind of instrumental music without words. So you might like it. The law of action: every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Newton's third law of motion. So everything has the equal and opposite reaction. You're always going to have, hold on. Okay, sorry, I had a sneeze. I had to pause for just a second. So this also has to do with gravity. When you're walking on the pavement, you're pushing down, and then the pavement will push up, propelling your forward motion. Anytime there's gravity involved, this is what happens. So there's always going to be an equal or opposite reaction, equal forces, different directions, reacting with each other. And oh no. Oh, I thought I lost it. Okay. The law of correspondence. Our current reality is a mirror of what's going on inside of us. So this is you creating your reality with your thoughts. Whatever that you think, whatever your reality is, whatever is going on in your mind, playing over and over and over, your instinctual thoughts that are popping up, mostly created out of fear-based reality. Until you can learn to control that, you're going to be thinking about the past, the future, and not staying right here and right now. And right here and right now, you don't need anything. You are perfect. Everything is fine. You are right where you are supposed to be. So if you keep your focus on what you want to create and how there's nothing wrong, there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to fear, you are going to create more of that. You're going to mirror what's happening inside of you to your reality in this world. That's where I want you to focus on good things, positive things, gratitude, creating more of that in your reality, because the other's not going to do you any good. The past has already happened. The future wouldn't happen without the now. Everything's happening in the now. Neither one can exist without right now. So why worry about what's going to happen next week or tomorrow, or about something that's already happened? Focus on what's happening now and create a beautiful reality for yourself. Let's see. The law of cause and effect. Every material effect must have an adequate cause that comes before the effect or is simultaneous with it. So you put the ball into motion. You are the one that sets the tone for anything that happens in your life. If you have intentions that are good and you put those good intentions and good thoughts out there, then that's what you're going to get back. You're not going to be able to put out hate and put out frustration and chaos and think that it's not going to create that. You're projecting that onto other people with the law of cause and effect. Law of compensation. We give what we receive, whether good or bad. And this law teaches us to be moderate, virtuous, and content with our lot. So, I think the law of compensation is not to be over the top with it. This I also kind of relate to with temperance, and how if something good happens to you, that you deem good, if you want to label it good, something bad happens to you, not to be overly excited or overly upset, to try to remain even keel, to try to be middle of the road no matter what, because it is what it is. There's no sense in overreacting to something. There's no sense in going over the top with something, love bombing to try to influence something. Keep everything in moderation. There's no sense in going over the top with anything, because people are going to expect that from you. That's what, you're never going to be content. They're never going to be content. You're going to be feeding your ego more than likely. So even if you had $1 million, in order to sustain the $1 million, you need to keep your vibration up. If you got it that way, you need to keep the vibration the same and give and receive, but do it in moderation. Do it to where it's within your comfort level, that it's going to be able to be sustained. The law of relativity. Nope, I'm skipping probably my most favorite one. The law of perpetual transmutation. So transmuting energy. Everything in the universe is constant and in a state of flux, moving from one form to another. And energy is perpetually changing and evolving, and you can do this. You have complete control over your energy, and in doing that, whatever you absorb, whatever is already within you, if it's negative energy, you can always turn it into positive energy. It's your choice. It's up to you. You don't have to absorb that negative energy. You don't have to integrate it into your vibration. You can turn it into something even higher vibrating, something that you can spread and sprinkle that shit all around and help others with it. You can be Robin Hood with that negative energy. You don't have to stay in depression. Anything that you have considered bad that has happened to you, you can turn it into something good and propel yourself forward with it. It's always a choice. The law of relativity, as understood in physics, suggests that physical laws are universal and that laws of nature are the same, regardless of the observer's motion. So, like in perspective, when I'm talking about everything is relative, your physical thoughts is what's going to create your reality. So if you don't change your perspective into seeing something that was potentially bad into something that was good because you learned from it, or you could transmute it and turn it into something good, it's your perspective. Shift your perspective. That way everything is relative. What's happening is because you have related this meaning to it instead of what society deems it should mean, or what someone else has said it should mean. This is your perspective. It's personal to you, and it's always a choice. You can always shift your perspective and see the good in anything that someone else may deem as bad, and then create your own reality with that. As in, I think I made a video about homelessness, that I never felt homeless. Even though I didn't have a physical address, I still had general delivery where I could get mail from. I still had a place to lay my head. I was still provided for. Everything that I needed was always given to me right when I needed it, and most of the time more than what I needed. God didn't have to do that, but He did. He took care of everything that I needed. He showed me where to go. He sent people to help me. There was always, I was always being provided for. I was always healthy and safe. So I never had the perspective of I'm homeless, no matter how much anyone wanted to say she's homeless, or she's sleeping in her car, or she's sleeping in her tent. That did not define anything for me. I was completely content with everything that I had. My surroundings were beautiful. I met lots of interesting people, and I hope that we all learned from each other. I know I definitely learned from them. I never ever considered myself homeless. I did not accept that label for however someone wanted to come up with a definition for it. It just simply wasn't my perspective of things. And so to me, I never was. And no one can ever force that on me because I'm not going to absorb it. It's simply not my experience. It might have been theirs. That might have been where they might want to put themselves and their thoughts and feelings, but that's just not where I lived. So I think it's very, very important to shift your perspective. That's a game changer, that and the transmutation. The law of polarity. Everything has a polarity, or opposites or contrasts, and everything exists on continuum with opposite qualities at either end. So love, hate, happy, sad, it's positive, negative, everything has polarity. And where do you put yourself on the spectrum? I never want to feed into the lower vibration, so anything that's higher vibrational is what I strive for. And if I fall short, if I make a mistake and give in, I don't think that I've reacted much recently, but it was a struggle at first to not react to anything, because I knew that everything was wanting to bring that response out of me, and that's what they wanted. And so I would never give anybody what they wanted, whether I felt it or not. I wasn't going to give it to them. So I might have had to work through that in private, and then eventually, like anything you practice, it becomes easier and easier. So if they wanted to be the polar opposite of what I chose to be, then they could. But don't stay there. I advise all of you to not stay there, because I still feel it. I still have empathy for the polarity of what I'm in, and I don't want people to stay there any longer than they have to realize that you are imposing a mental prison upon yourself, and how that's not healthy for anyone, you or the people that are around you. The quicker you raise your vibrations and get on the other end of that spectrum, the better. The law of rhythm. Everything in the universe has a unique rhythm that it beats to, and these different rhythms develop into patterns and cycles in life. And the rhythm that you're in could be anything, your routine. It could be the karmic cycles that you need to end and get out of. Things that because of your vibration, you end up in rhythm with something. That means you're vibrating the same. You're going to continue to go round and round with that until you learn the lesson, or until you raise your vibration to come up out of that rhythm, to come up out of those circles, those patterns that you've created for yourself, so that you can level up. Because you're never going to level up out of something bad or on to the next good thing if you are not coming from something that you deem as bad. It's healthy to be in forward movement every day, even if you're not dealing with coming out of a karmic cycle. The law of gender. Some people have trouble with this. Everything has its masculine and feminine qualities, and everything has a gestational period. I think coming to terms with everyone having masculine and feminine in them is tough for some people, and I have seen males have the biggest problem with it, because even though we all have both energies inside of us, does not mean that you are gay, that you are in the closet. Embrace that. Embrace that you have empathy for feminine energies, because you also have feminine energies in you. You can relate to them. You can have empathy for them. It doesn't mean anything about being gay, and there's nothing wrong with being gay, but I think a lot of masculine energies, that people that only want to present as masculine, let me say that, are offended by that universal law, because they're like, I don't have any feminine. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We all do. I feel sometimes androgynous because I try to balance everything out, and I feel like I'm feminine because I do like girly things. I like taking care of myself, and I'm a girl, so I'm doing things with my hair, things with my nails, things with makeup or fashion. But at the same time, I'm very independent. I'm very headstrong. I like to not need a lot of things from other people. So often being feminine in the traditional sense takes a back seat because I am wanting to control everything and not take a back seat to any masculine energy. I can be the masculine. I can be the feminine. I don't need anyone else in my life. I'm very comfortable with being alone because I can balance those energies out pretty good. And I know a lot of other women that do that too. And when a man comes back into their life, it sometimes can be a challenge to learn how to step back out of that masculine energy a little bit in order to let them exist equally in that partnership, in that relationship. It's hard when you've been used to being a single mom or taking care of everything on your own to be like, okay, I'll let you have some of this and I'll step back in my feminine. And a lot of masculines want that, but you all have both in you, no exception. The law of karma. This law, often associated with Hinduism and Buddhism, states that actions have consequences, both negative and positive, and that these consequences can affect future lives. So, what you reap is what you sow. What you put out is what you get back. Nobody knows when, nobody knows how, everything happens in divine timing, but you can add up such a karmic debt that not only does it affect you in this lifetime, but it can affect you in your next lifetime or for future generations, depending on who has been affected by that karma and how it has perpetuated. And could be a generational curse that's on your bloodline. It could be dealing with abuse of any kind. It could be anything that doesn't get cleared up because there's been no shadow work. There's been no awareness of it. There's been no accountability for it. There's been no foot put forward to stop it in any way so that it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. And you can't escape karma. You can't escape karma. I know this. Most of you should know this, but there's a way to delay it, and a lot of beings do that, and then they get this false sense of reality that it's never going to catch up with them. And even if it doesn't in this lifetime, it eventually will, maybe next lifetime. So clearing your past, present, and future karma is a very real thing. And that's about all I have for that. Some of those I knew more on than others because I deal with it all the time. It's something that's already worked into my messages, so I've done research on how to explain it several different ways. But look up those laws because I believe in those more than I do our physical laws. I will abide by what I have to, but what I don't, I put those above everything because those are created by God. Those aren't created by man. So they're more important to me, and I know how real they are because I've seen them. I've seen them in action, and everything else here that's made up is pretty frivolous and not important. I don't take very seriously at all, nor do I the titles of those that have formed them or enforced them. I just don't. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. God loves you. You are never, ever, 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 ever alone. Bye.